Howdy, it is I, Junk, back again so soon, and I have been trying to talk to you all day. I really have. One thing after another. I keep getting internet disconnections, which stops the hanger from loading. I keep people messaging me, calling me, some obligations you have to respond to that stop you. Anyway, I've been trying to record this all day. I'm going to try to do this quickly and get into the actual gameplay, because I have some gameplay I want to show you and some commentary about why I thought one half of the game went better than the other. Some criticisms of myself and some other people, I guess. But first I want to talk to you about the Crisis, which, in case you are bad at robots, is not in this hangar. It's in hangar number 4, with some appropriately strong weapons for it that I leveled up today. The Crisis is now a meme. The Crisis is the Erebus. It's the Erebus with one more weapon. If you were here for the Erebus, you know that the Erebus was a shielded robot released into a meta when everyone ran Shieldbreaker. And it died on arrival, and it just went into the storage, and it was never the meta, and it was never really viable in Champion League. You can run it. I mean, I run a Destroyer. That doesn't prove anything. The Crisis is a robot who's weak with stealth in a meta where everyone has to have quantum radar. The Crisis is trash. Now, what this tells me is that the videos of Crisis on the test server, the Reaper Crisis, getting crazy kill streaks and taking out Titans, are not about the strength of the Crisis. The Reaper must be unbelievable. I don't have them yet. I'm guessing it's that the Reaper is very strong and the Crisis was being carried by it. And that reminds me of the robot that is in the slot that the Crisis was in yesterday, the Nether. Remember when the Nether was on the test server and we all saw crazy kill streaks? We're like, oh, the Nether must be really good. And then we got the Nether and we're like, this is not good. Now they buffed it since then and they've changed the shield and stuff. But what we didn't know at the time was the Spear was really good. The Spear, before it got nerfed, was really, really, really good. And I think that's the situation probably with the Reaper and the Crisis. So the difference between the Nether and the Erebus is that Pixonic went back and tweaked the Nether. Pixonic was very invested in making the Nether happen in a way they were not invested in making the Erebus happen. If Pixonic is invested in making the Crisis happen, they may be able to tweak it. It also tells me that the Reaper is probably going to get nerfed. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket surgeon to figure out the new weapon is too strong and going to get nerfed. I'm not saying that like I'm a genius. But what I am saying is that even with that knowledge that new weapons are likely to get nerfed because they're probably overtuned, the fact that they were carrying this Reaper... Sorry, the fact that the Reaper was carrying the Crisis this hard... I don't know, man. Here's my last thoughts about the Crisis for now. And I'm not saying I'm not going to play some more of it because I want to get a kill with these Thermite, but in every exchange of fire I've had with a Behemoth, I was never in a situation where I wouldn't have been better off in a Behemoth with the same weapons. Not one time. Not one time did the stealth save me or come into play in any way. So, your mileage may vary. You do what you want. Don't do something just because I said to do it or not do it, because I clearly make questionable decisions. I mean, I did level 4 Thermite today. How bright can I be? But I'm just telling you, from my experience, I would not... If I won a Crisis and gold and silver were scarce for me, I would spend it somewhere else, because that robot is not going to help you in the higher leagues. The second question I wanted to address before we get into the gameplay was, a lot of people have asked me, if you were free to play, what would you level? And then a corollary, if you weren't free to play but you wanted to avoid nerfs because you were trying not to waste money, what would you level? Free to play, the first two robots that leap to mind, one is obvious, one is not. The obvious one is Lancelot. Tier 2 robot, put some Orkans Tier 2 and a Thunder Tier 1 on it. That robot, you get a pilot and you get the ghost skill. It will carry you all the way to Champion League. I see a Lancelot at least once a week in Champion League. You see Thunders probably once a week. Sometimes you see them together, sometimes you don't. The point being, that is going to be a very strong robot. It is much cheaper to level than any of the Tier 4, Tier 3 stuff you're going to see. You avoid that, you're going to be in good shape, and it will outperform. It'll outkick its coverage, the Thunder Orkan Lancelot. The second one, a little bit of a dark horse pick, the Butch. Let me explain. Butch is also Tier 2. It's also got 3 passive slots. So it's set up for success even in Champion League. The thing that makes the Butch ability especially useful from a budget standpoint is that after the last weapon rebalance, I've noticed that the burst TPS of the lower tier weapons is actually very good, but the reload times are much longer. Since Butch lets you switch between weapon sets every 20 seconds, it ends up making those weapons much more viable. So yes, you are paying for twice as many weapons, in theory, but in practice, being able to switch the cooldown times makes them much more useful. Now, if you want to pick weapons that let you grow into something else easily, you could just put 4 Thunders on them. They're tier 1. But if you put 4 Thunders on a Behemoth, that'll tear up an Arthur just like anything else. I mean, Thunders hurt up close. But for me, if I was going to fit it out, I'm thinking 2 Thunders and 2 Exodus. They're very strong rockets with a very long reload time. And you play mostly with the Thunders, and then, when you've got a Thunder reload and a guy standing in front of you, switch to the Exodus and light him up. So those are the things I would do if I was free to play and was making choices about what I would try to aim for. In terms of if I'm willing to spend money but I'm trying to avoid nerfs, the 2 obvious choices are the 2 original meta-proof robots, Ravana and Leech. Ravana, phasing and speeding up is going to be useful no matter what the meta is. And the Leech's ability to take your opponent's power and turn it against them is going to be useful no matter what the meta is. So they're tier 4, so they're more expensive. But those are the robots where I don't feel like Pixonic is going to come down with a Nerf bat and reach back 16 metas to hit the Ravana. It doesn't seem super likely. So yeah, let's get into some gameplay here. And hopefully you'll agree with me in some of the things I say in this. I don't mince words in it. I've got strong feelings about some of what happened. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, we are dropping in here on Springfield. Been getting a lot of Springfield lately, and I'm not a big Springfield fan. I don't hate it. It's not Power Plant. I hope the guy who designed Power Plant stubs his toe every morning. But we're getting into Springfield, and first thing I do, I'm looking at the clan tags. I'm seeing there's a guy in the Z over there. That's trouble. But then I find out later there's a guy in the Z on the blues, so little interclan warfare. I feel his pain. It happens. And you're going to see for the first half of this game, I do everything wrong and my teammates do everything wrong too. So we're on the same page and doing a terrible job. The first thing we're doing wrong here is we end up getting boxed out of the farm. They managed to get, because I was so busy taking the first beacon rather than going right to the edge, which I should have been, I didn't get to stop the Imugi from taking center. And once the Imugi were there with those lasers, they boxed us out from going to the farm. So we take a bunch of them out, but they've got the Skyros going over there. There's just nothing we can do about it safely. And then this Lynx comes up to me, and I'm thinking, okay, I'll get my ability back, and I'll have something to do to this Lynx as soon as I can get Quantum Radar up. But he chews me up so much. By the time my Quantum Radar comes up, I'm so low on health, it's just no shot for me. So, I come up to this map and I see, we took enemy home. And as you well know, I think among the very smooth brain moves you can make is to take enemy home if you're not pretty sure you're much stronger than the other team. And the one thing I know about the other team at the time was there's a guy in the Z on it, which is a top clan. Now I see Hold My Beer is over there. I know he's a top player. Why are we taking enemy home when there's top players and top clans on the other side? That's not smart. So I come to see because that would be the smart move if the team was doing what they should be doing. But since they're off wasting robots on enemy home, I got no help. I got 4 reds over here, was just waiting to die. And so I come up, it's like, well, we got nothing going on. There's nowhere safe to drop. I may as well try to drop in B. Because my rule is, you can try one drop 1 robot on the enemy home and then get out of there. So I dropped this robot and I realized I'm in a bad matchup. You would think that, Nether versus Nether would be a mirror match. But he's got stealth and I don't have Quantum Radar. So he's got the edge on me. Plus those rust rockets, he can hit me without having to aim too much. I've got to actually aim and focus at him, so I go down. And it would have been worse if I didn't have a last stand on that bot. So I'm looking at this thing thinking, okay, this game is just about lost. Well, there's no point in trying to do anything here. Let's just do what we should have done in the first place. The first actual indication that 2 brain cells were being rubbed together to create a spark on the blue team, let's take the farm, which is what we should have done. And to my fortunate luck, the Seraph doesn't look back behind him. So I can have a mostly smooth trip over here to the farm. What we should have done at the very beginning of the game, take your secondary. Alright, now we're down on the beacon bar. But we've got a chance, because now this game setup is something familiar and something we should know how to do. Here we come up on... yeah, that's the LE angler. And angler doesn't have a great move here, so I can't criticize it too much. But chasing a lynx, you know a lynx is a fast animal, right? That was never going to happen. And how about I do something that we don't do on this team and actually show some support for my teammate? I'm actually going to help my teammate with his little Mars problem. And oh man, Mars is the most annoying bot in the world, isn't it? We have, in a world of annoying robots, Mars still stands out as a particularly terribly annoying robot. So we get Mars done, and I'm thinking, okay, normally the move here is go back to center, but I can look at center and I see, 1 Titan, 2 Titans. Yeah, I don't want any of that. So fortunately, my teammate here is helpfully pushing me towards enemy home, and why not? It's not where 2 Titans are, so I'll take it. And another one of these annoying Nethers. Not as annoying as the Mars, and since I was just running that, I can't be too critical of that build. But I think we should be able to handle this. Maybe not a Mars and an Aether, though. That would be trouble. So now I'm thinking, okay, well, I gotta play a little bit carefully. Let's see how long I can last. Maybe I can take out the Nether. And if I can take out the Nether, we can cap even better. A little bit more delay. You can see all the beacons except E are switching right now. That farm is coming in handy. So we get the Nether down. Sorry, now we get the Nether down. And the Aether's shooting down into home, and I see a Rook shows up. So I'm thinking, well, this is pretty bad. An Aether and a Rook are on me. And so there's no way I'm going to be able to hold this. The question is, how long can I make them fight to get me off it? And a Luchador shows up. I was thinking, man, I can take that Rook and that Aether, but if a Luchador shows up, that's the line. The first 2 Titans, no problem. So obviously at this point, I'm just dancing, and my thought process is this. I know I have no shot at winning. I have 2 options. One is I can, like, skate off into the night and try to do something elsewhere. We're doing well on most of the other beacons. I think the better move here is for me to burn this robot, keeping those Titans tied up at home for as long as I can. So now where do I drop in? I figure I'll drop the Luchador on C. I don't know what's there. I didn't get a chance to look to see what robots are there. So it's an unknown, but I'm going to try to support my team. I drop in, and I almost jump right into the middle there, and I hesitate when I see, okay, there's an angler. Let's instead jump behind this Rook and see if I can't help take him out. I'd like to think that was useful. I don't know how much of that damage was me. I turn around, and I've got... it's my old friend. It's the Aether from Beacon B chewing me up now. So, I try to get behind cover, and shout out to the Z player in the Indra that just passed behind me. He didn't box me out, and the instinct would have been, if you're that player, get in there and hide. He sees I'm low on health, he lets me take the cover, and he goes and gets the kill. That's just top quality play right there. So, shout out, thumbs out to you. Thank you, man. Whoever you are in the Z, I forgot your player name, but thank you for your excellent, thoughtful play there. Good team play. I was surprised I survived that interaction with the Luchador, and then I'm going to be surprised here that I survived this interaction. I've got all these lasers on me, and I'm looking... okay, we're good on beacons. The beacon bar is just about tied, but we got a guy there in a laser. I don't know what he's in at this point. I just got to get to beacon A, and I've got an angler that's good for melee, so let's bring out my melee angler in. Turns out he's got a laser angler. Now, this is the thing that blows my mind. His laser angler is doing more damage to me than my melee angler is doing to him. How? How is it that the lasers are better in melee range than the melee weapons? I understand there's other advantages to the melee weapons, that they give you a little bit of a shield, which apparently didn't help enough here, that they let you go through energy shields, which didn't matter here, but If the laser angler is doing more damage up close than the melee angler, what is the melee angler for? Mercifully, though, we got out of this little squad invitation from the clan leader. Sorry, I will take one of the next ones. I've just been doing a lot today. So there we are, 6.7 million, 7 kills, 3 caps. Not a terrible game, not a great game. The first half was actually fairly terrible. The first half was bad play. That was just bad play all around. Especially me, but I gotta say my teammates, I understand why, if you saw we were boxed out of the farm, you would go to enemy home, but you know how I feel about that. So, maybe it was the best play under the circumstances we could make, and maybe the real lesson here is take your secondary is maybe the real lesson. So, if you made it this far in the video, thank you. If you're a dog or cat at home alone, I'm sure you're a good puppy or kitty, and your parents will give you a treat when they get back, and I will talk to you again really soon. Later.